Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a quick look at and installing the Injen X Pedal Pro throttle controller available for the 2011 and newer Challenger. Now, we've got our 2013 Challenger right behind me, and we're going to be taking this into action to see how this gets installed. But first off, you should be checking this out if you're looking to reduce or even completely eliminate that delay between the time you hit the pedal to the time that throttle body opens and your car gets going. Now, from the factory, that's known as the drive-by-wire delay. What essentially that means is there is a pre-configured delay from the factory from the time that you hit that pedal to the time the throttle body opens and your car starts to get going. This throttle controller has a ton of different pre-configured modes into this little device here that plugs into your OBD2 and plugs into your pedal control sensor right behind that factory throttle pedal. That drive-by-wire delay is going to affect your reaction time on the strip, and honestly, it can make driving on a regular daily basis a little bit of a drag. I will say that this is going to get a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. It'll take 5 to 10 minutes at the most. There is a bit of a specific process you're going to follow, and if you don't get it right the first time, it'll take some trial and error, but if you follow these steps in this video, you'll get it done no problem. But this control box that's going to be underneath your driver's side dash by the OBD2 has 2 optional wires to splice in. Now, I say optional because they are not required. You can take full advantage of all of the features here, with the exception of these 2, and everything would be fine and dandy. Some of you guys might want to use this, some guys might not. It's completely up to you. The green wire here is going to be your reverse signal wire. You can optionally splice this into your reverse wire underneath of that dashboard, which essentially is going to make sure that when you're in reverse going backward, that throttle response isn't increased, because who the hell wants to floor it backwards? That's not something you want to take advantage of with this, so you can just be careful if you're in reverse, or if you really want to make sure that that's rendered ineffective in reverse, you can splice this green wire in. Blue wire is the brake light signal wire. That, of course, is optional. You can simply take advantage of all of those other features without having to do any splicing. Injen does recommend that if you are going to take advantage of these 2 wires, that you do some soldering underneath the dashboard, just because it can be really risky to short circuit some wiring down there if it's not done properly. Soldering and making sure there's heat shrink over top of that would guarantee that you don't have any short circuiting happening in the future. If you're taking advantage of this, use extreme caution. We're not going to be showing you guys these 2 since they are optional. I want to show you guys how to take advantage of everything else without having to take that extra step. This would bump the difficulty up here to, I'd say, about 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. You can tackle it in, I'd say, about an hour from start to finish, because that can be a little bit difficult under the dashboard there if you don't have experience. Before we get into that, guys, if you want to pick that Injen throttle controller up, it's only about 180 bucks. Significantly cheaper than a tuner, but it obviously does not have the same effect as a tuner. Now, before we go into the car, I want to assemble all of this, and it's really just a matching your shapes up kind of game. So we're going to put the OBD2 first. That's that really small connector. Plug in right to the back. You'll hear a click. The controller doing the same thing. And then finally, the harness. Pretty easy stuff. Pretty much plug and play. Now we can take this into the vehicle and start plugging stuff in. All right, guys, now we're under the driver's side dashboard. What we're gonna do is unplug the sensor on the back of our throttle pedal. So we have to pull back this interior trim underneath of the driver's side dashboard. Pull that back, just get that out of the way. And this is the sensor right here. You're really just gonna pinch and pull back to unplug that. Now we can grab the wiring on the back of our harness and plug that into this harness here. That plugs into the factory harness. The other end of that is going to plug into that factory location on the back of the pedal. That snaps into place. We can tuck this wiring up and out of the way, and we can put that trim back into place. That folds right back in. Our harness is out of the way. What I would like to do is tuck this harness up to the top end, and now we can go back to the OBD2. The next step here is to grab your OBD2 plug and go right under the dashboard and plug that in. That's just as simple as pushing right into that location. Now that's plugged in and good to go. You'll see red blinking light on this receiver. That'll let you know things are good to go. Now for this end, we're just gonna unwrap that controller. Now all of this excess comes with 3M tape separately that you can put on the back of this and 3M out of the way. Now this we're not going to worry about, but this we're just going to pull up to our driver's side. Right into our center, tuck that out of the way. From here, you can grab that 3M and just secure all of that back. Zip ties work as well, or if you're gonna do some splicing, now is the time to do that. Since we're not doing the splicing, we're not gonna worry about that right now. Guys, now that we have that excess wiring tucked away, you can just put that right up underneath of that trim we removed. This little display here, this controller that's gonna send and receive those signals, has a display on the front. As you can see, we already saw that blinking red light. I think this is a pretty good spot for it. We're gonna tuck it right above our throttle pedal, just to make sure all the wiring's out of the way and it's not gonna interfere with you actually pressing on the pedal. That can be pretty dangerous. We have that set back. What we're gonna do is put our 3M tape on the back of this. You just peel off the backing of that red, set that into place on top here, and stick it up out of the way in the corner. I think that's a good spot for it. There's a couple of strips of that 3M, so this is a good way to get that out of the way, and it'll secure it for the long term. Now we can get started on the setup. All right guys, now we can go through the setup process. You want to turn your car into accessory mode. Do not actually start your engine. See, the display actually comes up here on our controller. Wait for that to stop beeping and we'll continue. From here, what we're gonna do is hold our mode button. It counts down from 7 to 0. We're gonna hold this, and once it gets down to 0, we'll let go. 0, release. The letter L will come up. It'll start blinking. That's the first throttle position indicating light. With the L blinking, we do not want to step on the throttle pedal whatsoever. Right now it's learning the 0% throttle position. If we stepped on the pedal, it would mess that up. It wouldn't know what 0 was, so keep that in mind. So as you can see, the first arrow down here is blinking as well. That's the first throttle position. That is letting us know it's at the 0% throttle. It learned that positioning. Now at this point, we can use the up and down arrows to go forward. So up, now this is high. All of the arrows are lit. That is the absolute most it could be at. This is the highest position on the controller. At this point with the H blinking, we want to completely, basically mat your throttle pedal. We're gonna push that all the way down. As you can see, all the arrows light up to the completion. That lets you know this is the highest throttle position that you can have on the pedal. So that way it learns 100%. From here, press on the up arrow. All of the lights are blinking. Full throttle position indicating the lights are at 100. We can release the throttle pedal and it should go back down to 0%. Now we can release that accelerator. Syncing is complete. You can confirm that the X pedal was synced correctly by pressing the mode button to change modes. If it does select different modes, it's complete. So you can see eco mode. We can flip through those positions. In eco mode, you'll go from 1 to 7. Those are your different eco modes. Hit mode again, you're in normal. If you press mode again, you're in sport mode. You can go from 1 to 9. 7 through 9 being those track recommended modes. Keep that in mind. 9 is the absolute most reduction on the throttle delay. Absolute 100% elimination of that delay, essentially. This is essentially your track. Go to normal, eco, normal, sport. Perfect. Now the setup's complete. You can actually hit the road at this point. Now guys, there's two other features, anti-skid mode for the snow and wet weather conditions and anti-theft mode. I want to show you guys how to activate both of those. Our engine is still off, so when you're in accessory mode, if you want to put this in anti-skid mode, what you're going to do is in any mode, double click both the up and down arrows together. 1, 2, snowflake comes up on the right hand side. That lets you know you're in the anti-skid mode. This will help in those wet weather conditions. And if you wanted to turn on your anti-theft mode, or if you wanted to get out of the anti-skid mode, just hit your mode button and you'll be right back to the menu and you can start flipping through again. If you want to go into anti-theft mode, click into eco mode and hold the mode button for about 2 to 3 seconds. your entire display shuts off, and this is anti-theft mode, which is rendering that throttle essentially completely useless. It deactivates that, and your car can't be accelerated. So this is perfect for anti-theft. Now, if you wanted to turn off anti-theft mode and put it back to normal, you're just gonna hold that mode button again. Comes right back on. Back to where you started, you can flip through the modes again. And that's really how you activate the Injen X Pedal Pro throttle controller. It's pretty simple. If you don't want to do all that splicing, you don't have to. But if you wanted to take that one step further, you could, of course, solder and heat shrink all that together to prevent any short circuiting. We, of course, didn't go through that today, but as far as this goes, it's pretty simple. And now you can tuck this behind any trim panel. You can place this anywhere within reach of your driver's seat. So that leaves a number of different locations. That is completely personal preference. I just wanted to take you guys through the setup. Well guys, that's gonna wrap up my review and install walkthrough of the Injen X Pedal Pro throttle controller, available for the 2011 and newer Challenger. If you wanna pick this up, you can do so right here at AmericanMuscle.com.